Please subscribe and click the hype and like button to get more content like this. Before we start, a quick disclaimer. Everything demonstrated in this video is strictly for educational purposes, to show you how to protect yourself. All demonstrations are performed in a controlled lab environment on our own testing devices. We never target real users, and using this knowledge to gain unauthorized access to actual people or systems is strictly illegal and unethical.
In this video, we're going to look at how we can use the DNS Dumpster tool to perform security assessments and help us in our penetration testing. To get started, we first need to open up a web browser and navigate to the URL seen at the top of my screen, which is dnsdumpster.com. When you navigate to the URL, you'll be brought to this main page with a search bar in the center of the page. This tool is used by penetration testers to build up a map of an organization's attack surface during a penetration test. You can also use it if you are a network defender to proactively secure your network. DNS Dumpster helps perform all of these activities by helping you with domain discovery, revealing the subdomains associated with a domain, and performing DNS record retrieval. So let's get started and see what this tool provides for us. The first thing we can do is do a DNS record lookup on a domain. For example, we could type in dnsdumpster.com into this search bar and click search, and we get results for dnsdumpster.com. So we can scroll down and see what kind of results we have retrieved. First, we have hosting information, or IP block owners, which gives us information about the hosting services, and then we have the geo IP, or location, of the actual hosting. And that tells us that this is primarily hosted in the United States. Continuing down, we can see it has found multiple DNS servers for us, and for each DNS server we get the name, IP address, and common name, as well as location. If there were any MX records, this is where we'd find something like a domain email, and then there's a TXT records section. MX records can be useful if you're trying to build up a mailing list for your penetration test and use something like the Hunter.io tool. And TXT records can be useful for finding a variety of information, including things like security policies, comments left over by developers, network descriptions, and more. So oftentimes during your penetration and network mapping, these two sections are going to be very useful for your reconnaissance and reporting. And then we have a host records section, which gives us more detailed information about the host itself. If we want to download copies of this information, we can download .xlsx copies of this, or we can click on View Graph, and this brings up a graphical representation of what we have discovered. So we can work through this graph, starting at dnsdumpster.com, and we can see how it branches out. So we have an empty branch leading to the MX records because none were found. We have a branch leading to the name servers, where the DNS servers were found, and we have another branch leading up to our hosting server. This can be very useful when enumerating an attack surface on a network or an organization. This graph can be exported as a PNG as well, so it's useful for reporting purposes. And you can maneuver and manipulate this graph to suit your needs by clicking and dragging on various nodes. So if I wanted DNS Dumpster to be on the left and everything related to it to be right of it, I can do that by clicking and dragging. Returning back to our main results screen, we can see that underneath of those buttons, DNS Dumpster has created its own domain map for us, and it's similar to what we just saw on the graph, but a little bit less interactive. If we scroll back up to the top of our results, we can also see these buttons on the top right for DNS servers, MX records, TXT records, host records, and domain map. Clicking on these will bring us to the respective section in the search result. So if you have something that has a very large amount of results and you need help parsing through it, it can be useful to navigate to the direct section using these buttons. If we scroll all the way to the top of the screen, we can see we have a few other tabs available to us. We can click on the Home tab, which brings us back to the original search bar page we started at, or we can click on the Defend tab, and this gives us information about open source intelligence for network defenders. And this is a good resource to go over if you're getting familiar with performing this kind of network intelligence and defending a network. So in addition to being a helpful tool for discovering and mapping networks, this is also a useful tool for learning about network security in general. Going back to the top right, we can also click on the Learn tab. And once again, this is a good resource for getting started with network mapping and performing penetration tests, as well as defending a network. And then we have a Scanners button. Clicking on the Scanners button will take us to the associated organization HackerTarget, who hosts and maintains the DNS Dumpster tool. And they provide a range of various scanners as well as documentation about how to use them. And if we scroll down to the bottom, we can see that DNS Dumpster is associated with HackerTarget.com. If we return back to the main homepage, we can scroll down on this page and get a little bit more information about how to use this tool, what DNS Dumpster can do, and how it works. So DNS Dumpster can be a very useful tool when looking at performing network mapping and defending networks.